Let me introduce you guys to Ben Fuchs. Ben Fuchs is an extremely well-known man. His background is extreme. He is a product knowledgeable, formulating, manufacturing background. He has worked for some very big companies. He has formulated some drugs like you cannot believe. He's the guy that oversaw the drug departments where he put on the respirators, the gloves, the gas masks. Why, might you ask? These things that your doctor says it's okay for you to take these things, and you get that information, you say, boy, look at those pretty pictures. Look at the commercials on television. Those people look happy. They look healthy. They look like they're in love. Their life is just full of bliss. And he's going, you know what? I wore a gas mask when I put those things together. I wore the respirator because the things that they put on a marketing standpoint in front of you, it's the farthest thing from the truth. It's the farthest thing from reality. I wouldn't touch those things with a 10-foot pole. That's the guy, Ben Fuchs. That's where he's coming from. Today, he's on our scientific medical advisory board for the most amazing company in the world, Longevity. And it is my honor to introduce you to legendary Ben Fuchs. Come on up, Ben.
I don't know how the heck I'm going to live up to that. I'm not legendary, trust me. I'm just a regular little old pharmacist guy. But I love longevity. I really do. Hey, and I love you guys. I love you, Denise.
Oh, I love you. We're taping. You're live right there.
Yeah, so you have to look into the camera every now and then.
All right.
I don't think we met.
No, I haven't. I'm Kevin. Nice to meet you.
You don't mind, do you? What's up, guys? How y'all doing? I see a lot of new faces. Who's new here? Raise your hands. That's it? Come on, raise them high so I can see. Who are guests? Who came here as a guest? Awesome. All right. Who's heard me before? You need to hear my little story? Nobody needs to hear my story. Do you want to hear my story?
There's a clip on there.
Synopsis.
Synopsis?
Yeah.
All right. I was born at a little No, I'll just give you the Cliff Notes version here. So I am a pharmacist. I'm a registered pharmacist. I went to pharmacy school at CU and studied, believe it or not, what pharmacists study a lot of is nutrition. You guys know this? Heather knows this. We study nutrition, except we study nutrition as if nutrients were drugs, as if they were medicines, because as it turns out, when we're sick, we're not sick because we're deficient in medicine, we're sick because we're deficient in nutrients, and behind every single disease state that you can name or that you can deal with, you will find a nutritional deficiency. I think you will find nutritional deficiency behind your diabetes, behind your psoriasis, behind your eczema, behind your acne, behind your cancer, behind whatever. You're going to find some kind of nutritional deficiency. In fact, at the point of death, we don't die of a heart attack. We die because our cardiac cells, our cardiocytes, are not being fed. We don't die from the disease that it says we die from on our death certificate. We die because some tissue system, some cell system is not being fed. We literally die of nutritional deficiency. So we suffer from health crises, and we ultimately die from something that we can take care of as simply as replacing. We can simply replace the nutrients that we're missing to reverse our disease process. Now, there are some constraints, and this is very important to recognize, and sometimes we in the world of nutrition don't recognize these constraints. Do I have a pen here?
Right, there's some left right there.
Sometimes we don't recognize these constraints, and the constraints, I'm not going to beat a dead horse here, but I want you guys to recognize that I recognize, and that as I'm talking to you in the context of SMEP. This is all I'm going to say about it, SMEP. These are the 4 stages of health and wellness, the 4 dimensions of health and healing. And some of you know what I'm going to say.
Is there a darker pen?
Darker?
See that.
SMEP. Spiritual, mental, emotional, physical. All healing. I'm only going to say this once. We're here to talk about nutrition. But you have to recognize that if you're dealing with a crisis, a health crisis, it's primarily a spiritual crisis. and then it's a mental crisis, and then it's an emotional crisis, and finally it's a physical crisis. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you just take vitamin C and your cancer disappears. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you just do protein and your arthritis will disappear, your EFAs, as important as those are. You have to recognize these dimensions. Spirituality, whatever that is to you, non-denominational, higher power, some kind of higher connection that you're making every time you think a thought, every time your mental machinery whirs, a hormone is produced, and that hormone is going to make or break your body. Same with your feelings. Once your spiritual and mental and emotional components have been addressed, then you can start to address the physical component, the physical dimension. And as far as the physical dimension goes, there's only two things you need to know about if you want to be healthy, or you want to be healthier. The physical dimension involves movement, stress, if you will, a word that we've come to fear in our culture, but as it turns out, stress is your friend, and nutrition, and you want them simultaneous. I'm not going to tell you about stress today, except for you to understand that you want to use and respect stress. Stress is how we grow. Stress is how a system evolves. Stress is how anything changes and gets better. In physics, we call this systems theory. And systems theory says that when a system is stressed, it reorganizes over time. It reorganizes to a higher level of complexity, which means it gets better and more refined. And we all know this as exercise. Very important in all the stresses in your life, by the way, whether it's your IRS bill or credit card bill or dysfunctional family or, God forbid, your health issue, all your stresses can make you better and stronger and more refined, and you want to be able to exploit them as such. But in order to do that, you've got to have raw materials to feed the system, and then raw materials are what we call nutrition. Now, nutrition is a little bit tricky to understand because we've been so conditioned to believe that the mythologies that are perpetuated by the medical model are accurate. We believe our doctors. And let me tell you something, as a pharmacist, I am privy to how the sausage is made. All right, I know the secrets and they're not nice. I've worked in the hospitals, and trust me, you don't ever want to be anywhere near a hospital. Ever. I don't even want to work in one ever again. We have been led to believe that we have a medical system that can help us and heal us, and that's why when push comes to shove, when you're sick, you're going to the doctor. When push comes to shove and you're sick, you're going to get an antibiotic. Perhaps not you in this room, but most people will do that. But has it dawned on anybody that despite the fact that we have tens of thousands of different drugs, despite the fact that we have 4 billion prescriptions served a year, despite the fact that we spend nearly $1 trillion around the world on prescription medicine, nobody's getting better. We're getting sicker. How is it that we've been bamboozled to believe that the medical model works, that we have the greatest healthcare system in the world? How is it that we believe this? We are conditioned and hypnotized at every turn to believe that somehow there is a medicine that will help us and reverse our disease. And I'm telling you, as a pharmacist who's studied this for 30 years, that's not what medicine does. With the exception of the antibiotics, which kill bacteria and occasionally can make a difference, medicine doesn't help you. Medicine masks symptomology. It masks, it hides your arthritis symptoms. It hides your diabetes symptoms. It hides your autoimmune diseases, but all the while underneath you are still rotting and decaying and accelerating your demise. What's even worse, and this is the worst thing of all about drugs and medicine, aside from the fact that they don't work, when you take a medicine, your body now has to process that medicine. It has to remove and eliminate that medicine as if it were a poison, which it is. So you take an already stressed out system, and now you add more stress on it. And that's just with one medicine. But what if you're on 2? And what if you're on 3? And what if you're on 5? And what if you're on 10? And what if you're on 12? And I'm not exaggerating. I've had people drop bags of prescription bottles on my counter, a dozen or more, and I had to fill a dozen or more different prescriptions, and this is what people are doing. So, is this really horrible? Is this really bad news? Is this scary? No, it's great news. It's great news. Because what it means is once we understand this, we can start to take control of things. Once we understand that our medicine doesn't work, then we can start to work with real medicine, which isn't even really medicine at all. It's the stuff that our body runs on, and that's what nutrition is. It's nothing more, nothing less. It's the stuff our body runs on. You guys who are in longevity, You guys who are thinking about joining Longevity, that's what we're selling. How cool is this? You know, I get letters, I get Facebooks, I get people in my radio program, and by the way, like what I'm saying here today, listen to The Bright Side every day. We talk about this stuff every day, 5 days a week, and there's tons of archive material on the program. It's called The Bright Side. I talk to people in the radio program all the time who say, I did the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, it changed my life. Now, is it because it's magic? No. It's because it's the gas that runs your engine. It's as simple as that. How is it that we can even believe that we can have a machinery, a body, an engine that can run without gasoline? Well, guys, we're selling the gasoline. We're selling the gasoline that runs people's engines. It's not magic. It's as simple as the fuel that runs our bodies. And if you guys want to make some money, if you want to start a business, if you want to participate in longevity, just carry around some BTT with you. That's all you need to do. And 9 times out of 10, or 99 times out of 100, people are going to notice lower blood pressure, they're going to notice appetite suppression, they're going to notice weight loss, they're going to notice that they're reducing their medications or eliminating their medications, they're going to notice that their blood sugar changes. You guys, am I making this up? You guys who have tried this? Come to convention. How many of you guys been to the convention? All right? What do you hear at convention? Story after story after story after story, and this is our business. This is what we're selling. We're selling the good news. We're selling the good stories. This is powerful stuff. And on top of all of that, on top of helping people and making a difference in their lives, you're making money and you're making good money. And this is really what business should be all about. Now, some of you guys are thinking probably, if you're new and you haven't really dabbled in multi-level or you dabbled in being in business, how do I get started? What do I do? Let me tell you how you get started and how you participate in this incredible, incredible business. First of all, you understand the power of this stuff, and when you approach people as if you are going to make a difference in their lives. And if you don't believe that you're going to make a difference in their lives, you have 2 options: either not to do it at all, because you shouldn't, or you can experience this for yourself. Get yourself on the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, start today and watch what happens. That's it. That's all you have to do. We have 400 different products, and if you hear me talk, I'm only going to talk to you about 5 or 10 different products. You don't need 400 products. You need one chief product, which is the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. You need 2 underneath that, which is your Healthy Start Pack, and then you need a few little miscellaneous products underneath that, which is what I'll talk about. It's kind of like a pyramid. You got your BTT, you got your Healthy Start Pack, which is the ultimate EFAs and the osteo, what do they call it now, OsteoFX, and then you have your 5 or 10 remaining products that form the base of your pyramid. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. So let's start talking about a few different products here, okay? Because this is going to be about products. First of all, my favorite nutritional product in the world, and I've formulated many products in the last 30 years. I didn't tell you about my personal story, but my personal story is I got involved in the skincare business when I worked for Blistex. The Blistex research facility was in the basement of the School of Pharmacy in Boulder when I was in pharmacy school. And one day I was walking through the basement of the School of Pharmacy, and I smelled this peppermint smell coming out of one of the rooms. I walked in the room and started talking to this little old man who was taking around some beakers. It turned out that this little old man was Dr. Tony Jones, the guy who invented Blistex many years ago, and I ended up being his research assistant for 3 years while my colleagues, did I ever tell you the story? While my colleagues were getting their, you heard this?
No.
Okay. This is how I got my how I learned how to formulate. I trained with Tony Jones for 3 years, and my job was literally to come in after school, and I would come in, there'd be a stack of formulas. This was pre-computer days. He would have typed out all these formulas, and I was making his formulas for him. And I learned how to make formulas. I learned how to test formulas. I learned how to do animal testing, which is really hideous, let me tell you that. Rats don't like, one of the things you have to do when you're animal testing, you gotta do something called an LD50. Anybody know what an LD50 is? LD50 stands for lethal dose 50. Right? And they want to know how much it takes, how much Blistex a rat will eat before 50% of the rats will die. All right? And rats don't eat Blistex voluntarily. Let me tell you. So you have to wear these big gloves, and you hold this very angry rat, big angry rat like this, right? And you hold him like this, and he would be really pissed. And you'd have to squirt massive amounts of Blistex in his mouth. Right?
You didn't try to put it just on his lips?
No, not on his lips. Not on his lips. You got to eat it, and he didn't want to eat it, and he'd be squealing and biting, and it was pretty awful. And then you'd have to sacrifice the rat. That's what they call it. Sacrifice him to the greater good of Blistex, whatever. And then you'd have to see, that's another ugly story. And I refused to do it. I did it once, and I refused to do it. And Dr. Jones thought that was the funniest thing ever, that I wouldn't sacrifice the rat to even Blistex. But anyway, so I learned about ingredients. I learned about thank you. It's horrible. It's horrible. They used to have at CU. They had a big. Did you ever see? I don't know if they still have. They had it when you were there, but they used to have this big room with animals, and the animals were.
I don't think they have it anymore.
Yeah, they would always tell us, watch out for crazy people coming in the building. Everybody trying to let the animals loose, and we would have to watch out for people who were freeing the animals. They call them crazy people. Anyway, so my job was to make formulas, study how to research the retains, they call them, the things that you hold over the course of time. You want to see how they age and how the products change over the course of time. So I got a background in how you make products. And one of the things I learned is that there's a lot of things that we can do to manipulate the body that we're not doing. And one of the things Dr. Jones was a medicinal counselor, one of the things he respected was the power of using nutrition on the skin, of using nutrients on the skin. So I got this idea that we could actually put topical products on the skin. We could actually treat the skin with vitamins. And I ended up starting a company, which some of you may have heard of, called Sanitas Skincare. And this is a company that was designed to create skincare products that featured vitamins on the skin. And I don't know how many of you guys have used Sanitas or heard of Sanitas. Okay, so that's it. No. All right, but anyway, so I ended up getting an understanding about nutrition on the skin, and the more I studied about nutrition on the skin, the more I realized that if nutrition worked on the skin, on top of the skin, then maybe we could start to heal the skin using nutrition internally. And so I started giving people who were coming into my pharmacy nutrients for their skin. I started giving them essential fatty acids for dry skin. I started to give them zinc for their acne. I started to give them selenium for their rashes, and lo and behold, their skin would change. And so I started to explore this idea of using nutrients to heal the body. And I actually started to develop topical skincare products and internal nutrients for the skin right here in Longmont at Albertson's Pharmacy. You guys, how many guys are from Longmont? You remember Albertson's Pharmacy on 17th Street? Okay, I was the pharmacist there in the early 1990s. And I was making prescription medicine and formulating nutritional supplements for people's skin at Albertson's Pharmacy in the 1990s. And this was called compounding, which back then nobody knew what compounding was. And little by little, as the product started to work and as the formulas that I was dispensing were working, I started to say, well, why the heck am I doing this for Albertsons? And I started a pharmacy, and I started a business. And long story short, I started a company called Sanitas and a pharmacy called Econocom Pharmacy that was specifically designed to use nutrients instead of drugs. It was the only nutritional pharmacy and skincare pharmacy on the planet. We had no drugs, it was all nutrients. And what I discovered was there are strategies that you can use, nutritional strategies that you could use to help change any disease state you could name. And it's all because when we're suffering from a disease state, as I said earlier, we're really suffering from a nutritional deficiency. Now, one of the things we learned in pharmacy school is how to dose the body using different forms, dosage forms. Now, the most common dosage form is a pill. And we all have to take pills and capsules. But in pharmacy school, we learn, as Heather can tell you, that pills and capsules are the worst form of the worst dosage form you can take because they require metabolism and digestion before they can do their work. The best form is intravenous. It goes right to work, right in the blood. And in between intravenous and oral and pills and capsules, you've got a whole spectrum of different dosage forms. Well, one of the most effective dosage forms that's not intravenous is liquids. And so what we learn in pharmacy school is that liquid nutrition is the most powerful way to take nutrients that's not IV. One of the most powerful ways to take nutrients into the body that aren't IV. And one day I was in my pharmacy, this is after I started my own business, and I got a tape, and it was called Dead Doctors Don't Lie, right? This was 1993. No, it was probably 94, 95. This tape, that one came out in the 90s somewhere. I stuck it in the drawer, I didn't think anything of it. A couple days later, I got another tape. And it said, Dead Doctors Don't Lie. I said, what the heck's this? Stuck it in a drawer. About a week later, I got another tape, and some of you guys may remember this. There were people sending out all kinds of tapes. Dr. Wallet's tape, Dead Doctors Don't Lie, ended up being the best healthcare tape ever made because everybody was sending these tapes out. How many of you guys remember this? Back in the 90s, right? Everybody's getting a Dead Doctors Don't Lie tape. One day I pull out the tape. I get a tape in the mail. Finally, I had like 6 of them in the drawer. I'm like, all right, I'm going to give this thing a listen. I put it on, and I was absolutely floored. Because this guy was talking like a pharmacist. He was saying all the things that we pharmacists know about how you dose the body, about colloidal minerals, about cartilage products, about glucosamine. These are all things that pharmacists know. So a little bit longer, after listening to the tape for a little bit longer, I figured this guy is right on, and I became a Dr. Wallach fan in the mid-90s. One of the things he was talking about was the idea that if you really want to get nutrition in the body, it isn't pills that you want. He was saying things which you guys may have heard. He was the first guy to say things that most pills end up in the toilet, that they clog up the pipes. And we haven't really hit that message. We haven't really talked about that for a long time, but that's what really got me going. So I started to use the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. Actually, it was called at the time, it was called Tangy Tangerine, and it was in a bottle, and I started to take it, and I started to notice the most incredible results, and I was already supplementing. I was already privy to supplementing. Today we have it as a powder called Beyond Tangy Tangerine, and what makes this product so amazing is the fact, well, there's a lot of things, but one of the things that makes this product so amazing is the fact that you drink it. And when you drink it, you bypass digestive issues. You bypass digestion. It goes right to work. In order for the digestive process to turn food into you, a lot of things have to go right. And for most of us, as we get older, that doesn't occur. And that's not including the people who have digestive problems. There's 80 million Americans who have digestive problems. When you drink your nutrients, you notice results. And when you drink a densely packed formulation, you notice even more results. And the Beyond Tangy Tangerine is not just liquid. It's dense. And as a formulator, I am telling you, I have yet to see a multiple vitamin formulation that is better than this. You can't get this in Vitamin Cottage. You cannot get this on the internet. One of the neatest things about longevity is the fact, as I said earlier, that we're selling things that people need. We're selling things that people need anyway. So once you get your client qualified to this idea that they're going to need to supplement their diet, that they're not going to get food, they're not going to get what they need from food. Once you get your client understanding that supplementation is important, then it's a very short jump into longevity because this is not available anywhere. They may say something like, oh yeah, I know I have to supplement, but I'm going to get my products on the internet. Great. You're not going to find Beyond Tangy Tangerine on the internet. You're not going to find it at the vitamin store. You're not going to find it at Vitamin Cottage. So your job, it's a very easy job really. Your job is simply to let your client understand, or to find a client, not even teach your client, but just to find a client who's already privy to the power of supplementation. And once they understand the power of supplementation, then you give them the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. So the core of the longevity line of products is BTT. There is no, if you want to participate in the longevity business and not use the BTT, you're missing the boat. This is the core of the entire line. And it's only $50 a canister. Everybody can afford $50. All right, this is my favorite of the longevity products. Everybody needs the BTT. Sip on it all. Oh, by the way, you want to sip on this all day long. You don't want to. Some people will say, "I taste really strong." Okay, that's because you're doing too much all at once. You don't need to follow the directions on the dosage. It says 2 scoops, or it says 2 scoops for 100 pounds, or something like that. If you like it, great. If you don't, sip on it all day long. If you have diarrhea, that's not a detox. How many people have experienced or heard their clients say they got loose stools or diarrhea after the BTT? That's malabsorption. It's not a detox. And that's a serious thing to know because it means you're not absorbing your nutrients, especially your minerals. When you don't absorb minerals, they pass through your digestive system. And minerals suck up water. You know how they'll put salt on the roads when there's ice, right? Because the minerals suck up water. They're osmotically active, we say. They're hygroscopic, it's a fancy term, because they suck up water. If you're not absorbing your minerals, and I'll tell you why that happens here in a moment, because we have some products that will help you with that. If you're not absorbing your minerals, you take them in, they pass right through you, they'll pull water along, and you'll end up with loose stools. This is very important to recognize. If your clients, it's not the BTT's fault. Don't let anybody blame the BTT. Okay? That's just flat out nutrients. It's not the nutrients' fault. If that happens, you want to tell your client to sip on their BTT slowly. You also want to tell your clients that they're experiencing malabsorption of minerals, which will end up shortening their life and leading to all kinds of horrible diseases. This is very important information. And I'm going to tell you how you can take care of that in a moment. Another thing about the BTT, in addition to the fact that you don't need to do 2 scoops all at once, check this out. You can take, the new one tastes great, by the way. Have you tried the 2.0? 2.0 is awesome. You can use this powder under your tongue and get a quick jolt of nutrition. How do you like that? You put, right? Put a small, you like that? Put a small amount of it under your tongue. It tastes great, it'll fizz a little bit, and the nutrients will go right in the blood. You get a quick buzz of nutrition almost instantly.
So we can put it in the straw.
What's that?
Put it in the straw.
I think they may even have it. Does they have straw? I think they may have, they're going to come out with a little straw version of it. Yes, you can put it in straw. It might tingle, if you put too much, it might tingle a little bit too much. So you've got to control the dose, but that's another way you can use it. You can also use it to flavor your smoothie. You can also put a little bit in your smoothie to make your smoothie taste delicious. You should be using smoothies. Remember, liquid nutrition is the way you want to drive your nutrients into your body. Smoothies for breakfast. Oh, and by the way, you don't need a big breakfast. You need a nutritional breakfast. In fact, a big breakfast is not your friend, but a nutritionally dense breakfast is, and the BTT is a star of a nutritionally dense breakfast, in addition to putting it into a nice protein smoothie. For kids, make freezer pops with this. All right, anybody done this? Make freezer pops with it. You make a nice little solution, find the flavor, just the flavor. You want to go by the flavor. People say, I don't like the taste of it. Find a point where they do like the taste. Half it, if it's not 2 scoops, it's a 1/4 scoop, or it's a 1/2 scoop. Find the point where the flavor is not too strong. Find the point where your kids like the flavor, and then freeze the solution, and it makes an incredible freezer pop that's loaded with nutrients. How cool is that? You guys, we're selling this. You know, this is our product. You don't need anything else. This is a superstar product that you could build an entire company around. You could build an entire business around. Now, who's not excited about this? I haven't even told you about the Clemson study yet. All right? The Clemson study where they put the BTT in a petri dish and the cancer cells died. All right? This is what we're selling. It tastes great. It's the nutrients you need anyway. Everybody's going to be using it. It kills cancer, and you can use it in all of these different fashions. All right, you see why I'm so psyched about something like this, and the 2.0 is even better. All right, I'm not going to get into all the specific nutrients in here unless you guys want me to.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
About the loose stools, and
Yes.
I've had people have issues with the osteoFX, not
Same.
the
What's in the OsteoFX?
The magnesium.
Magnesium is one of the most osmotically active of all minerals. All right, now mineral absorption, I'm going to say this, I don't see the enzymes here because those are really important.
I don't think we have a sample.
I don't see the digestive enzymes here, but I'm going to talk about that next because those are really, really, really important. All right?
Her question was on the OsteoFX, is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Anything with minerals in it can cause diarrhea and loose stools. In fact, even if you're not supplementing and you have chronic diarrhea or chronic loose stools, you want to regard that as a potential sign of mineral malabsorption. One of the hidden little secrets about minerals is the fact that minerals require bile for absorption. Mineral absorption occurs in much the same fashion as fat absorption. The fat absorption system of the body involves bile, and without bile, you're not going to absorb calcium, you're not going to absorb magnesium, you're not going to absorb selenium, you're not going to absorb many other minerals. Now, why is bile important? Nobody ever talks about bile. Bile is stored in a little bag in your digestive tract. What's that little bag called? Called your gallbladder. Correct. The word bladder means bag. Gall means bile. Your gallbladder is a bag of bile, by definition. That's what a gallbladder is. Don't let anybody ever tell you you don't need your gallbladder. All right? 500,000 different gallbladders are removed out of this country, removed out of people every year in this country. Probably some of you in this room have your gallbladders removed. All right? But if you have your gallbladder, keep it. There's no spare organs in the body. The body is a system. Why is a system? The definition of a system is a complete unit where parts can't be removed without changing that system. That's the definition of a system, and the body's a system. If you've had your gallbladder taken out, or if you have a liver problem, and 80 million Americans have liver problems. Today we have a new disease. Every couple of years there's a new acronym disease. The latest one is called NAFLD. Have you heard of NAFLD? NAFLD stands for non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. NAFLD. If you go to the doctor, and many of you probably have, they'll say, oh, you've got a little fatty liver, but that's normal. No, it's not normal. A fatty liver means your liver is breaking down. The liver makes bile, among other things. Liver does a lot of things, but one of the things it does, it makes bile. So over the course of time, not only does many of us lose our gallbladder, which is our main source of bile for food, but many of us also have liver problems. The pancreas is also involved in fat absorption and in mineral absorption as well. And many of us have pancreatic problems, especially if we're diabetic or we have insulin resistance. 100 million Americans have that problem. You can see that many of us are going to be compromised in our ability to absorb minerals. It's not unusual for, even if you're not supplementing, to have loose stools and chronic diarrhea. But if you have it with your mineral supplementation, whether it's the Osteomag or the Beyond Tangerine, or whatever minerals you're taking, regard it as a fat malabsorption, as a mineral malabsorption problem. If you have a mineral malabsorption problem, you also have a fat malabsorption problem. That is a huge issue because your fatty vitamins and your fatty nutrients, your EFAs, are your youth and growth and repair and happiness nutrients. Everything we like about being alive is associated with essential fatty acids and fatty vitamins. And if you cannot absorb them, you will not experience everything you like about being alive. That means you won't be growing, you won't be repairing, you won't be anti-aging. You'll be doing the reverse, which means you'll be accelerating your demise and getting older faster, accelerated aging. So what do? The single most important thing you could do from a nutritional and dietary standpoint, the single most important thing, anybody interested in anti-aging and staying younger longer? Okay? The single most important thing you can do from a nutritional standpoint and a dietary standpoint is focus on your body's ability to absorb fats. And that means minerals too, they go together. And how do you do it? Well, there's a lot of ways to do it. Number one, you can start eating smaller amounts of fats. That's a great strategy. Or take your minerals in smaller doses. Number two, you can start to take in supplements that improve fat absorption and fat digestion. One of the best things you can do is apple cider vinegar. How many of you have experienced apple cider vinegar? Okay? Apple cider vinegar acidifies the stomach. It makes the stomach contents more acid so food can be processed more effectively. And your digestive system is kind of like a car wash. Anybody, you ever look in the window as your car is going through the car wash, and you see the different things go out, or if you're in the car now, you can see all the different stages of the car wash as your car goes through the tunnel. You know what I'm talking about? The brushes come down and different fluids come out. That's how your digestive system works. And every step in the process is dependent on the steps before it. So if steps break down early in the process, the entire digestive process will break down. And acidification of food is one of the first steps in the digestive process. So if food is not acidified correctly, all of the processes downstream will become affected negatively. On the other hand, if you acidify the contents of your stomach with food, as you're eating your food, all of the process downstream will work more effectively. Apple cider vinegar is one of the simplest ways to do this. Now, there's another really neat acidifying substance called betaine, B-E-T-A-I-N-E. How many of you guys have heard of betaine? Betaine HCl. HCl stands for what? Hydrochloric acid, exactly. So eating hydrochloric acid with your meals can also help acidify the contents of the stomach to improve the processing of food and nutrients downstream. Now, you can get hydrochloric acid in the pharmacy. And if you have a real severe case of what they call achlorhydria, which is a fancy way of saying you're not making enough stomach acid, which most of us as we get older don't. Do you know antacids are the #1 best-selling drug in this country? Antacids. And as we get older, I used to work in nursing homes. Almost all older folks in nursing homes are on antacids. A lot of older folks are on antacids. The idea being, as we get older, we're making too much acid, right? That's the implication. Now, as anybody who's getting older will tell you, when you get older, you don't make too much of anything. Everything slows down. Who came up with this idea that as we get older, we're making too much acid? It's the exact opposite. So in any case, many of us are suffering from achlorhydria. You can actually go to the pharmacy and get hydrochloric acid drops. Well, wouldn't it be cool if you could take hydrochloric acid as a supplement? Well, yeah, it would, and you probably should. Hydrochloric acid supplements are called betaine HCl, and they are one of the key ingredients in one of the most important products that longevity sells, which is the ultimate enzymes. Now, enzymes are chemicals that help things happen and make things happen. They're matchmakers. I went to this Mormon, they call it a steak. Any Mormons in this room? What do they call it? A steak? state conference, they call it. And they had these parties, right? And it was a big one here in Denver. And the guy, I remember, Mormon religion is very interesting. I really like the Mormon religion. So I remember the guy who was the bishop, I guess, right? And he was in the front, and he says, and the state is a state conference is where they have all the families and parents and kids, and they all get together, and it's kind of entertaining and sort of religious. Am I describing this correctly? I only went to one of them. So, but I remember the bishop saying at the first, we're going to have a dance. At the end, we're going to have a dance. He's talking to the kids. They were teenagers. So we're going to dance. And I want all the boys to make sure you're dancing with the girls. That's what he said. He said, I don't want any boys sitting there by themselves. I want them all asking girls that. I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. They didn't say that in my church. You know. And I thought that was really cool. And the idea being that you want to bring everybody together, right? Well, in the body, we have chemistry that's happening all the time. And in order for the chemistry in the body to happen all the time, molecules have to come together. If molecules don't come together, chemistry doesn't happen. In fact, that's all chemistry really is. It's the science of how everything comes together. When you talk to somebody and you really like them, you say you have chemistry, right? Chemistry is just about interactions of things. And in the body, or in a party, or in a social engagement, there's chemistry. We always have chemistry. It's how things go together. Well, in the body, things are always going together. That's what generally what all the chemistry in the body is about. It's about molecules coming together. Now, in a party, men tend to stay on, kids anyway, kids will stay on one, the boys will stay on one side, the girls will stay on the other side, and nothing will happen. You'll have to have somebody getting in there to kind of pull everything together, right? Same thing in the body. Molecules don't just come together in the body. Chemical reactions don't just happen in the body. They got to have some kind of mediating force that pulls everything together. You know what we call that mediating force? Anybody know? That pulls all the molecules together so they can have interactions, so they can relate to each other, so they can have chemical reactions. You know what we call those chemicals that bring everything together? I'll give you a clue. Without those chemicals, those mediating chemicals, nothing will come together and you will die. What do we call those chemicals? Can you see how important these chemicals would be, by the way? That bring everything together? Is that a yes or no?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that the ion?
What? First of all, do you understand how important these things would be, right? They pull everything together so these reactions can happen. Did I tell you how important these things are, right? Without these chemicals that pull everything together, nothing will come together and you'll die. Chemical reactions won't happen. So you understand that these things are going to be important, right?
Yeah.
If I told you that I could actually give you a bottle that was filled with these chemicals, these mediating molecules that pulled all the things together so the chemical reactions could happen in the body, do you think that's something you'd want?
Mm-hmm.
You better believe you'd want it. If I told you there's a food here that has lots of these little mediating molecules in them, and there's a food here that doesn't, which food would you want? You probably want the food. You'd be smart to take the food that has lots of these mediating molecules, these mediators that pull everything together so that the chemistry in your body can happen efficiently. So what are these chemicals called? Do you want to know?
Catalyst.
Say it louder.
Catalyst.
That's what they do. You hear what Bill said? They're catalysts. A catalyst, by definition, is something that speeds up reactions, and that's how it works. Being an engineer, I just knew that, right? A catalyst is something that, by definition, speeds up the rate of chemistry reactions. You have a catalyst in your car that does that. That's what a catalyst does. Well, these molecules are indeed catalysts. But what are the molecules? I heard somebody over here saying. They're enzymes. That's what an enzyme is. It pulls everything together so reactions can happen. And one of the reasons that we have gotten progressively sicker in our culture over the course of years and decades is the fact that enzymes are not in the food. Enzymes are extremely unstable. They decay and break down very quickly. They're supposed to be in food, but cooking destroys them. So when you cook your foods, you lose the enzymes. So many of us are going through our lives without these mediating molecules. And the chemistry is not happening as efficiently as it is. Now, there's two kinds of enzymes in the body. You've got enzymes that help all the chemical reactions happen. Chemical reactions in the body are technically called metabolism. And these enzymes are known as metabolic enzymes. And then you have a second class of enzymes that pulls all the food molecules together so they can react. What do you suppose we call those? Digestive enzymes. And that's what a digestive enzyme is. A digestive enzyme is a molecule that pulls food molecules together with water and other fluids from your digestive juices so they can interact with each other so the foods can get broken down. So digestive enzymes are the key to having your body break down food so you can release the nutrients. so your body can absorb the nutrients. And digestive enzymes require acid in order for them to work effectively. So the ultimate enzymes for longevity are completely packed, are completely well-rounded. They've got the enzymes and they've got the hydrochloric acid for activating. But it gets even better than that. Because digestive enzymes are designed to break up the three main types of food, the three main classes of food: starches, fats, and proteins. So you got three kinds of digestive enzymes. The ultimate enzymes for longevity have all three of these in them. And by the way, if you eat papaya, if you eat kiwi, if you eat pineapple after your meals, those are loaded with digestive enzymes, and those will also help you digest your food.
You said after meals?
With your meals, after your meals, or in the same vicinity as your meals, not too long after your
And
meals.
you're gonna talk about the enzyme when you should take them.
I'll talk about that in a second because there's a couple things that you want to know about enzymes. Now, digestive enzymes dissolve, as I say, protein, fats, and carbohydrates. But one of the neat things about digestive enzymes, specifically protein digesting enzymes, they call them, by the way, proteases. You can always tell an enzyme by the ending ase. You ever see ASE at the end of a word? Protease, amylase, lipase. You're dealing with an enzyme. Protease means an enzyme that digests what? Protein. Lipase digests lipids, which is fats. Amylase digests starches. Well, here's one of the neatest things about digestive enzymes. And by the way, I love multifunctional products. I love products that give you lots of different functions, that give you lots of different benefits. One of the neat things about digestive enzymes is not only will they help you digest your food, but because they dissolve protein, they will improve clogs and clots in your blood. They act as natural blood thinners. And blood thinning is a major, major, major benefit of a nutritional supplement because the thinner your blood is, the faster it flows through the body and the more effectively it delivers nutrients, the more effectively it delivers oxygen, and the more effectively it drains toxicity out of the body. Digestive enzymes, because they have an ability to dissolve protein, which can clog the blood, this is one of the reasons the blood clots, is because of fibers and protein clogs. Digestive enzymes will improve oxygenation, they will improve nutrient delivery to cells, and they will improve detoxification. And if you don't think blood thinning is a major problem, you should read some pharmacy trade journals. I love reading pharmacy trade journals, okay? Because it's so twisted. They love it when we're sick because that's how drug companies make money. So there's these big advertisements now and big articles in the pharmacy trade journals about blood thinning drugs because everybody's blood is clotting. We have a major blood clotting problem in this country, and blood thinning drugs are a huge, huge business. And the pharmacy trade journals, all you got to do is read any pharmacy trade journal, and you'll see big advertisements about blood thinning drugs. Why do you suppose everybody's blood is clotting? What's going on with blood clotting? Anybody ever been to the hospital, had major surgery, had some kind of surgical procedure? Raise your hand if you have. What kind of drug do they give you when you go home? Knee replacement, hip replacement. What's the first thing they give you when you go home? Coumadin, right? Why? Why isn't there after surgery they give you blood thinners? Anybody wonder about that? What's up? How come I have surgery and now I need a blood thinner? What's up with that? Well, blood clotting, as it turns out, is a major, major sign of a body in distress. It's a sign of a body that's freaked out. Why? Well, you see, our freak-out system, which is called the stress management system in the body, it doesn't know that freakouts in the body are caused by surgery. It doesn't know that freakouts in our lives or stress in our lives is caused by, the IRS or our credit card bills. It only knows two kinds of stresses. The human body that we have today is 1 million years old. It grew up on the African savanna. Perhaps not quite 1 million years old, but it's long enough. It started 1 million years ago, and it only knows two major kinds of stresses. The one kind of stress it knows about is famine. And that's why when you are worried about your bills, or you got some kind of health crisis, or you've got some kind of family issue, or some kind of job issue, one of the things that's going to happen is you're going to gain weight. Because your body thinks that it's going to starve. It doesn't know about your bills, it just knows there's stress going on and it's going to protect you from starving and you're going to gain weight. And rest assured, if you're one of those people that can't lose weight, you've got a major issue with your stress response. And it can be something as simple as worrying about your family. The second major stress that the body has to worry about in addition to famine is being eaten by a tiger. Those are only stresses your body knows. And the entire stress response system is designed to keep you from dying by eaten by a tiger or dying from starvation. So when you're under stress, one of the things that will happen is you're going to get fat to protect yourself, in your body's own way to protect yourself from starving. And the second thing that's going to happen is your blood is going to clot. Why? Because if you're being eaten by a tiger, clotting blood is a way to keep you from hemorrhaging to death. So the clotting system is tied into the stress management system. And if you want to make sure that your blood is going to clot, give yourself a lot of stress. And so this is one of the reasons why we're all dealing with clotting blood. Why so many Americans are dealing with clotting blood. Well, there's a lot of ways to thin the blood. One of the best ways to thin the blood instantly is to tell your body it's safe. How do you tell your body it's safe? Well, you can use your mind, absolutely. You can use your visualization. You can use your emotions. But one of the fastest, quickest ways to tell your body it's safe is to breathe. Because your brain is reading oxygen levels. And when it sees oxygen levels drop, it thinks it's an emergency, which it is. Simply by practicing deep breathing techniques, you can reduce clotting in the blood. By the way, hypertension is another major sign of the stress management system being activated, because when your blood vessels close, blood comes out with a greater force. So clamping on the blood vessels, closing blood vessels, is one of the body's compensatory mechanisms for reducing stress, or for preparing you for whatever it thinks you're being stressed out by. And you can test something out yourself. How many of you guys have hypertension? How many of you guys have high blood pressure? Been told you have high blood pressure. Anybody? Okay, well, if you have high blood pressure, you know somebody who has high blood pressure, get a blood pressure cuff, put it on your arm, take your blood pressure, take it as normal, and then spend about 2 or 3 minutes practicing some deep breathing techniques, and then take your blood pressure again, and you're going to see your blood pressure drops. Oxygenation tells the body it's safe. Oxygenation will thin the blood, as well as open up your blood vessels. The second way you can thin the blood is water, simply by drinking water. In fact, first thing in the morning, our blood tends to be sticky and tends to be a little bit thick. And this is one of the reasons we don't feel so good first thing in the morning. Drink 2 tall glasses of water and watch what happens. But as soon as you get up, 2 tall glasses of water, have it right by your bed. If it's cold, it's even better, because that'll really speed up your metabolism. But whatever, just get 2 tall glasses of water. Watch how much energy you have just from 2 tall glasses of water. You can do it in the middle of the day as well. One of the best ways to thin the blood is to make sure you're getting enough digestive enzymes. Proteases especially. So we got an ultimate enzyme product that not only helps you digest your food, but it also helps you thin your blood. But it gets even better than that. How much time do I have here, guys?
5.
5 minutes?
Well, then,
Okay, well, then you're not going to hear about the... Oh, take a couple questions. Okay. So the ultimate enzymes also help relieve pain, dental pain, sinus pain, arthritis pain, back pain, any pain that's associated with inflammation, because digestive enzymes, proteases specifically, are anti-inflammatory. You guys, for $30 a bottle, you get a supplement that will help you digest your food, get you more nutrients. You got a supplement that's going to relieve your dental pain, your menstrual pain, your arthritis pain, and you've got a supplement that's going to thin your blood and allow you to get more nutrients out of your food, more nutrients to your tissues through your blood. All for $30, and this is a product you're selling. This is a product you're selling to people. All right, now the third, I want to say one last product, because Hank is in the house, and Hank has really taught me. Where's Hank? I saw him a second. Oh, he just left.
The dosage.
Dude. Oh, on which one?
On the ultimate enzyme.
All right, I'll tell you, that's a great question. How much ultimate enzymes do you take? That's a great question. Okay, with the ultimate enzymes, with digestive enzymes, you have to practice something called functional dosing. Functional dosing means you dose based on the highest degree of function that you get from a supplement. So what does that mean? It means that you take 2 digestive enzymes and you see how you feel after meals, or if you're taking it for anti-inflammatory benefits, you want to take it on an empty stomach. You guys get that? You take it with meals for digestion. You take it on an empty stomach if you want to take advantage of its pain-relieving properties or blood-thinning properties or anti-inflammatory properties. Should I say that again? You guys get that? Okay? You take it on an empty stomach if you want to take advantage of its pain-relieving and anti-inflammatory and blood-thinning properties. You take it with meals for digestion. How do you dose? You dose functionally. You take 2 after meals and you see how you feel. Take it with apple cider vinegar. Take 2 after meals, see how you feel. Oh, I feel okay, pretty good. Take 3 after meals, see how you feel. Wow, I feel even better. Take 4 after meals and see how you feel. Whoa, I feel really good. And you'll notice that you have more energy. You'll notice you're digesting your food better. You'll notice you don't have discomfort, the same kind of discomfort. You take 5 and you go, well, there's not that much of a difference. Then you know you're somewhere between 4 and 5. That's called functional dosing. You guys get that? They're non-toxic, these things. You can take a whole bottle. So don't worry about toxicity. You want to take as many as you need to experience the benefits. And then once you get to that point, you're going to have to make a decision on your own, how a cost-benefit kind of decision. Is it worth that? Is it worth how much better I'm feeling for the amount I'm taking? But you're going to make a determination. That answer your question? Functional dosing. And by the way, probiotics are the same way. And I'm not going to get a chance to talk about the Nightly Essence, which is another one of my all-time favorite products. Just like with the BTT, that's a product you cannot get anywhere else. The ultimate enzymes you can get other places. Okay? The Z-radical you're not going to get anywhere else. The BTT you're not going to get anywhere else. And the Nightly Essence you're not going to get anywhere else. And I'm not going to talk about the Nightly Essence because I don't have time, but that's another one that you want to dose functionally. And one of the neat things about probiotics, by the way, is you get better mood, you get mood effects. It improves your mood and you get a better sense of well-being from probiotics, from bacteria in the gut. And that's another fascinating story, which we'll maybe talk about in another Super Saturday, because I want to talk about the Z-radical. Hank, Z-radical. Hank over there taught me about the Z-radical. So thank you, Hank. I appreciate that. The Z-radical is loaded with a substance called sulfated polysaccharides. And sulfated polysaccharides are some of the most incredible compounds in all of nature. They're a combination of long, poly means long in chemistry. What does saccharide mean? Sugar. A polysaccharide is a chemical molecule. It's a long chain of sugar with a battery on top. And that battery, that's right, it's a battery-activated, electrically charged long chain of sugars. Now, long chains of sugars have an ability to trap energy. If you look at a long chain of sugar under a microscope, under an electron microscope, you'll see little cavities, little cages in that polysaccharide. And each one of those little cages is capable of holding a little piece of electricity. What do we call a little piece of electricity? Anybody know? It's called an electron, right? And that's kind of an intimidating word, right? Electron, but all it is a little piece of electricity. And long chains of polysaccharides, which your body is full of, by the way, conduct electricity. And when those long chains of polysaccharides are manipulated, squeezed in any way, the electricity comes out and it becomes like a little battery. It's called piezoelectricity. Anybody hear that term, piezoelectricity? Okay, piezo means pressure. And these long chains of polysaccharides are piezoelectric. They're pressurized electricity. So as they're moved, you generate an electrical charge. Well, a long chain of polysaccharides is going to generate an electrical charge anyway, but a sulfated long chain of polysaccharides has a little piece of sulfur on it, and sulfur is a mega, mega, mega electrical mineral, and it's one that you want to be getting a lot of on a regular basis. By the way, your skin is loaded with sulfur, and when you go out in the sun, the sulfur in your skin becomes supercharged. When you lay out in the sun, you become supercharged because the sulfur molecules in your skin suck up that photonic energy and turn it into electrical energy. Sulfur molecules turn the sun into electricity. And that's why they're found in the Z-radical. Because the Z-radical is loaded with elements that come from little critters that live on top of the ocean. And these little critters that live on top of the ocean suck up the sun. They're living on top of the ocean. That's what the ocean is. It's like a sunshine sink. It absorbs sunlight. And as those photonic sunlight energy rays are coming in, those little critters that live on the surface of the sun are doing just what your skin does. They're activating their little sulfur molecules. And then when we carve those little critters off the surface of the ocean, we can put them in a bottle, and you're going to end up drinking those activated sulfur molecules attached to those long chains of sugar, and you're going to be drinking electrical energy. You're going to be drinking electrical energy that has been instantly converted from photonic energy. You're drinking sunshine. You're drinking sunshine that's been electrically activated so that you can use it in your body. Now, that's all great theory, but what does that mean? It means you get supercharged, especially the cells of your body that are moving the fastest. The cells of the body that move the fastest are the digestive system. The Z-radical is one of the most important digestive support supplements you can ever take. There's other cells in the body that move faster, the brain and the nervous system. The Z-radical is also one of the best brain and nervous system supplements you could ever take. And the most incredible cell system that moves very rapidly in the body are the cells that make up what we call the immune system. And if you want to be blown away by a nutritional supplement that you are selling, it's your business to sell, just Google sulfated polysaccharides and cancer. Because cancer is a disease that's caused by a suppressed immune system. Immune system, immune system always takes care of cancer. If you, God forbid, have cancer, it means your immune system was not working correctly, was not working strong enough. When you drink sulfated polysaccharides, or you eat sulfated polysaccharides, if you're going to do it with foods, you jack up, in addition to the cells of your digestive tract, in addition to the cells of your central nervous system, the cells of your immune system. And this is what makes sulfated polysaccharides so powerful for building immunity and for fighting cancer, and that's what the Z radical is. By the way, if you ever heard of Jewish penicillin or chicken soup, it's the same idea. Cartilage also contains sulfated polysaccharides, and this is one of the most important things about eating cartilage. And I'm not going to get a chance to talk about the glucogel caps, but that's basically what the glucogel caps are as well. So all the benefits that you get from the Z radical, you also get from the glucogel caps, although they're not in liquid form, so they're not as electrically activated. You guys, there's so much more that I can talk about. This is the tip of the iceberg, and this is your business. This is our business. This is how we make money. So please, for you guys in the business, be proud of what you are doing. And don't ever let anybody tell you, oh, that's a pyramid scheme, oh, that's never market, blah, blah, blah. This is the greatest business you will ever be involved in, shy of starting your own nutritional supplement company. You now have all the support that you could possibly want from the scientific side, from Dr. Wallach, from Dr. Glidden, from myself, from Heather, and I want to get Heather up here to talk a little bit, that's okay? As well as from a business standpoint with brilliant, amazing human beings like Tom Chenault, Denise Chenault, Scott Verdulis, and Juliet, and all the cool people in
Ben, will you
MJ.
give a real quick synopsis of the Clemson study, though?
The Clemson study, yeah, it's real simple to say. It's very simple. People are always worried, and like me, I don't know why, but people are always worried about toxicity with nutritional supplements. You'll hear doctors tell you about, oh, nutritional supplements can cause problems, blah, blah, blah. So we finally did a study, because we never even thought we needed to do a study. I mean, how silly is it that nutritional supplements could be a problem? So finally we just did a study. We paid Clemson, which is a major center for nutrition research, Clemson Medical School. They do a lot of nutrition research. We paid them a lot of money. They tested it. Not only did they find it was non-toxic, but surprise, surprise, it killed cancer cells as well. So if you ever need to have some kind of scientific background, I mean, you don't really need it because you can just go on Google or PubMed to find. By the way, look, Scholar.Google gives you all the scientific stuff, and then PubMed.com also. You can just go on there and look things up. But if you want just to show somebody a concentrated amount of data about the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, the Clemson study justifies the use of the Beyond Tangy Tangerine for fighting cancer, as well as its non-toxicity and gentleness. That's a Cliff Notes version of the Clemson study, and it's available. I think you can get it off the website. It's online. So, all right. So I'll take a couple of questions real quick, and especially like questions when you have a problem client or somebody that you're trying to help, a loved one, or even if it's yourself, if you have some kind of health challenge that you want to see how to address nutritionally. Yes.
I have a quick question. I have a friend who's allergic to vinegar. So how would apple cider vinegar possibly?
Great question. Allergic to vinegar. I'm going to tell you something right now. My dad says he's allergic to vitamin C, by the way. All right? You have a friend who's allergic to vinegar. You'll hear people say sometimes they're allergic to iodine, right? Allergies mean an activated immune system. That's what an allergic reaction is. It means your defense system has been alerted. Your defense system is only alerted to one type of compound. One and one type only. It's called protein. The immune system spots protein. So you cannot be allergic to vitamin C. You cannot be allergic to iodine. And you cannot be allergic to apple cider vinegar. You can only be allergic to a protein. Now, does she not like apple cider vinegar? Does it bother her? Does she feel uncomfortable? Perhaps. Does she feel queasy? Maybe. I don't know. But she's not allergic to it. And that's first and foremost. If she doesn't want to use apple cider vinegar, she can use any kind of acidic food. Some lemon juice, maybe. Anything acidic. The idea of that. Apple cider vinegar is acetic acid. It's a type of acid. Lemons have citric acid. It's another type of acid that you can use. Any type of acid will work. It doesn't have to be apple cider vinegar. The neat thing about apple cider vinegar is it has minerals in it. A lot of minerals. It has electrolytes. So it's almost like a nutritional supplement, and it's ridiculously cheap. So you get a lot of benefits. And it'd be too bad if she can't do it. She doesn't like it, but she's not allergic to it. You guys get that? Because you're going to hear it all the time. I'm allergic to iodine, I'm allergic to this, I'm allergic to that. You can only be allergic to a protein, period. Nobody's allergic to vitamins, ever. It doesn't happen. Okay? All right.
How much of the apple cider vinegar?
How much of the apple cider vinegar? This is what I do. I go like this, like this. And by the way, you get almost like a buzz from it. How many of you guys have done this? You almost get like a buzz out of it, right? And I know at first you're like, oh, I don't know if I want that, but after a while you start to crave this stuff. I do it in the middle of the day, I just do a swig of it, and you get a little bit of a buzz from it. What, am I exaggerating? Has anybody experienced this? Are you guys laughing at me? Just me. All right. All right. Yes, Laney.
I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you.
You are absolutely
Thank you. I
amazing.
appreciate it.
Every time I hear you, it just blows my mind.
Thank you so much. God bless you. I appreciate it.
One more question.
One more question. Or a compliment. I'll take one.
We love you,
Tell me how much
Ben.
you love
We
me that
love
way.
you.
All right, thank you. All right, now one more question. I want a health challenge because I only got about 5 minutes. Give me a health challenge. Health challenge.
How do I change?
Color your hair. Color of your hair.
Yeah, get it back natural color.
Cool. Just for men. What's your color? Just kidding. That's a joke. No, you see, I got a call yesterday from a gal her hair is falling out.
Yes, my
Okay,
lady.
the hair is falling. When we have problems like hair falling out or hair's changing color, what that means is our body's starting to break down. Is what that means. In the hair, you have pigment cells that live in the scalp, and they make pigment. Those pigment cells die over time. Now, to combine that, as those pigment cells are dying, we have immune problems, and the immune system starts to attack those pigment cells as well. So, hair falling out, hair color changes, these are secondary signs of a body that's breaking down over time. So you don't want to focus on the hair, and you don't want to focus on the fingernails, and you don't want to focus on the joints. You want to focus on the body as a system. This is the most important thing for you guys to understand. It's not about targeting specific disease states. You work on the entire system. Let me ask you something. If you have a completely healthy body, can you have cancer? No. If you have a completely healthy body, can you have psoriasis? No. If you have a completely healthy body, can you have a diabetes or can you have a thyroid problem? No. So what you want to focus on is getting the system healthy. And how do you get the system healthy? It's very simple. I call it I already told you 2 parts, but it's really a square of health, a 4-part square of health. Nutriate, oxygenate, move, and rest. We just talked a little bit about nutritional supplementation. We talked a little bit about oxygen. Make no mistake about it, you have to move your body. You have a sewage system that eliminates poisons out of your body. It's called your lymph. You know how they tell people sometimes people will tell you, oh, my grandfather, he used to smoke a pack a day and he ate all kinds of lard. He lived to be 100 years old, right? You ever hear that? You hear people say that? Well, why is that? Because your grandfather was farming and he was walking and he was taking care of the horses and he wasn't sitting around watching TV. He was moving his lymph. So please understand you've got to move a little bit and you don't have to move a lot. I watched this commercial yesterday. I wrote about this on my blog yesterday. By the way, if you want to read my blog, it's pharmacistben.com. There's a commercial I saw, and it was so ridiculous to me. It's for something called Insanity, a workout program called Insanity, right? Beachbody, 9. That's great if you want to do that, but that's not being healthy. That's not what it means to be healthy. You don't have to have a 6-pack to be healthy. You might want to look at a 6-pack, it might be all sexy and everything, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's health. Big muscles don't mean health. Health just means simply moving your system, not being sedentary, keeping the body in a dynamic state. And the best part of keeping the body in a dynamic state is, in order to maximize the benefits of movement, you have to move a little and rest a lot. A lot, a lot, a lot. This is how the body thrives. It thrives on rest and relaxation with a little bit of movement. Think about it. You don't like to go to work, right? It's not because you don't like to work. We don't like staying in bed. Have you ever been stuck in bed for like a week or a day? You can't even stay in bed for a few hours probably because we don't want to be in bed. If somebody told you that you're going to work 1 day a week and you're going to take 6 days off, or you're going to work 2 hours a week, that's it. Wouldn't that be great? 2 hours a week, 3 hours a week, and the rest of the time off. We intuitively know that we like a tiny little bit of movement, a tiny little bit of stress, and lots of long, luxurious rest. And that's how you stay healthy. Nutriate, making sure you're getting all your nutrients, and that means supplementing, that means food. oxygenate, that means you're getting oxygen in to fuel the process. And by the way, when you oxygenate, it's a two-part system. When you get oxygen in, and you blow carbon dioxide out. And guess what? When you take oxygen in, you activate your stress management system because oxygen is very dangerous stuff. And when you blow carbon dioxide out, you activate your relaxation system, which is why when you're scared, you don't go like this. You go like this, right? Because you're activating your stress management system. But when you're relaxed, you go, oh. You're activating your relaxation system. So the next time, one of the ways, and this is the last thing I'll say.
You guys hate me because I give him the hook.
This is one little great tip, and I won't be done. One little tip, okay? One of the ways an activated stress management system, by the way, if you're a scientist, it's called the sympathetic nervous system. Anybody hear that term, the sympathetic nervous system? I call it the stress management system. One of the ways that the stress management system shows up when it's activated is constipation. Constipation is a sign that your stress management system has been activated. Now, chronic constipation is a major issue. Probably many of you guys in this room have that. Okay? That's a classic sign of an activated stress management system. Well, along with high blood pressure, along with blood clotting, all these other things, these are all signs of an activated stress management system. So the next time you're sitting there on the john, right, and you're constipated, watch this. Instead of breathe, most of us tend to breathe in when we're on there. Focus on your out breath as you're sitting on the john, and you'll notice your insides just open right up as you're sitting there. Focus on that exhale. Everything just opens right up. We're all adults here. We can talk this way. All right, so that's it. I'm done talking about